my name is Moni.
And I'm Naveen from Before You Play.
And welcome to our first vlog of the year. Hopefully the first of 12.
Yes, we used to do these way more frequently.
Yeah.
The vlogs, we were pretty good about coming out once a month and doing them. But somewhere along the lines, we kind of like slowed down on the vlog side of it. So the goal for this year, one of our resolutions is to get one out every single month.
Yeah, speaking of resolutions, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to everybody out there. I hope you had a wonderful holiday season. Did you? Let us know. Let us know what you did. Because I hope it was nice and relaxing and just filled with, people
Warmth.
we love.
Hopefully it was warm wherever you are.
Yes, we know that it probably wasn't. For some people, especially on the East Coast of the United States, I'm so sorry if you've had to endure any of the difficult weather.
I'm worried about people who are like stuck at airports for like 4 days.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Our hearts go out to you all. In California, it's been raining a lot, which is good for us because we're always in a drought. So we hope you all are staying safe and cozy and warm. And so today we figured we would do a kind of a mix of things for today's vlog.
Hodgepodge.
Yeah, hodgepodge.
Throw it all out there.
We typically like to do some sort of a year-end review kind of video where we discuss how many videos we made last year and what else kind of went on and what we're looking forward to for this year. But today we figured at the end of the video we would do something fun where we'd kind of discuss a list of 10 games that came out within the past 3 years that we still have not played.
Yeah, so we picked this kind of timeline because we started the channel in 2019 and so many games have come out since we started the channel and obviously you can't get to all of them. So what are the games that still interest us, that we still know, that are on our list of like must play at some point in our lives, hopefully this year?
And truly, the inspiration for this list came when we were trying to make our list for top 2022 games.
Yes.
Like, so many games come out towards the end of the year, and I feel like it's on to the next year. It's always on to the next year, and a whole new slew of games are going to be released this year, but we still haven't played all the games from last year.
Or the years before.
So we don't want to forget these games that have already been released that are probably very good that we just haven't played, right?
Yep.
So hopefully this list can kind of serve as maybe part recommendation, or if you have played these games, please let us know what you think about them and whether we should play them or not.
Yeah, it's like our own like little diary. Like we can be like, what do we say that those are the 10 games that we still need to play. So when we're trying to prioritize, like, what should we pull off the shelf?
Yeah. And of course, this is going to be the once a year video where we discuss our approach to monetize content and just sort of things that we do to run the channel. And since we're going to be discussing sort of a random assortment of things, we've included timestamps in the description below so you can jump around to whichever sections you'd like to hear. All right, so let's get started with the year in review. So last year was kind of a tough year.
Yeah,
honestly.
It was busy.
It was extremely busy. We traveled a lot. And I think that was a brunt of why it was so busy.
Yep.
For those of you who don't know, I quit my job in June. So half the year we were both pretty much working almost full time and running the channel. And then about halfway through the year, I called it quits with my job because it was extremely stressful. And then I went to full-time content creation right as we were doing the latter half of the year travel.
Yep, that's exactly it.
So let's start with the traveling. I think the first place that we went to last year was Dice Tower West.
Which springboarded we springboarded from there to AirCon.
Yes.
So Dice Tower was like a solid 5-day chunk, which then led to a trip to England.
We left from Vegas to England, which is where AirCon is. And so that was about a 2-week span.
Right.
After that was February, March. After that, we had some personal trips to Canada and such to visit family. And then we had the Watch It Played live stream event for anyone out there who caught that. That was, I believe, in July.
June or July, yeah.
And that was held here. After that, we went to Gen Con.
Which was like a 5-day thing. I almost got hit by a car crossing the street. There's a
couple of you out there witnessed that.
Yeah. And okay, if you're going to Gen Con, there's like a path that you cross the street that is like on a very unprotected sidewalk. Be very careful over there.
Yeah.
I don't know how they don't have like a sign there. They have to have like a light there to protect you. PSA. If you're out there and you're entering the convention next year on that back street, be very mindful as to where all the cars are because you might have the right of way. Cars don't think that. That
was Naveen's biggest memory from Gen Con.
That was a big memory, yeah. I almost got taken out.
Yeah, that was a little bit scary. After Gen Con, we went to Essen. So that was a 2.5 week trip just in Europe in general. We got back, had a lot of family stuff. The holidays started, and then we went to PAX. Or I went to PAX.
You went to PAX, I did not, yeah.
Yeah, and then in December, we hosted family for about 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
So it was quite a busy year. It was a little bit too busy in that regard. It's very difficult to sort of do other things when you travel that much.
Yeah, 4 major conventions. Yeah, that was pretty big, and they're all over the world.
Yes. So that is not something that we're planning on doing this year. We really wanted to try. Gen Con wasn't a convention that we'd ever been to before. And that was the first year coming back from the 2-year span of just not seeing people. Like, I felt like 2022 was the most normal year.
Yeah, with like COVID lockdowns. 2020, obviously, there was no Gen Con.
Yeah.
And then 2021, it was just starting up. So, yeah.
So we went a little bit wild with the travel. We're not going to be able to do that this year at all. But that was sort of our attempt at trying to reach out and reach into the community, right?
Yep. Thank you to everybody that we met along the way and all these different conventions. Everyone was super kind, very, very nice. And it's always nice to meet people and sometimes see people that comment on our videos.
Yeah.
And then you put a face to that name. So really cool. Yeah.
This year we are for sure going to be going to AirCon. And that's actually coming up soon. That's at the beginning of March.
Yeah. It's 2.5 months away.
Yeah.
Roughly.
That's in England. So for anybody out there who is planning on going, we'll see you there. Outside of that, that is the only convention that we know we're going to for sure.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, in addition to the traveling, we did also make some videos. We made a total of 110 videos in 2022.
Yeah.
About a third of them were Kickstarter or crowdfunding previews. So I think about 32. So maybe a little bit less than a third.
About 30, yeah, something like that.
And of the 110 videos, about 55 of them were playthroughs. I think only 54 of them are visible currently.
Are still on the channel.
Because we had to take one down because of really egregious rules error, which was Under Falling Skies.
Under Falling Skies, which is a solo game. We played it 2-player, basically co-op, and we were making the game super hard for ourselves.
Yeah.
So much so that, we like to demonstrate how a game is played and how to play it. We didn't want that video out there anymore teaching it wrong because it was making it extremely difficult the way we were playing it.
Usually we don't mind if, there's a playthrough where, you didn't pay that.
There's a little goof,
There's a little goof because that's going to happen pretty much all the time. But a big rules error like that is a little bit too much. So we took it down. So if you're looking for it, that's why it's up there. So those are the numbers in terms of videos that we put out last year. We also get a lot of questions about our table. We have an update in regards to the table. And a lot of people actually don't realize that this is the table.
This is the table, yeah. We made a video maybe about a little over a year ago. I don't remember exactly when. We were given a table to review, a board game table. We'll leave a link up here if you wanted to check out that review. And we do get questions about, what's the status update on that table? How is it holding up? Do you still use it?
A lot of people ask, how come you don't use the table?
Right.
But actually, this is the table. So this is, by the way, a lot of people also ask about this.
They want to know about this.
This is a wool blanket.
Yeah.
It was recommended to us, and underneath the blanket is
the
table.
Yeah.
So this is this is a board game table. This is a lid. You take it off, and then underneath you have the actual table with a felt. And we've had it now for, like Naveen said, about a year-ish, a little over a year.
I can't remember exactly when.
And this is a fantastic table. Now, I will emphasize once again that this is a luxury item. This is not a necessary item at all for you to be a board gamer, but for people who are looking for that kind of thing, this is the sturdiest table I have ever had, ever experienced. Yeah, it's just, nothing will rock this table. We've stubbed many a foot on the legs.
I know exactly where the legs are, so I try to avoid them, but Monique has stubbed her toes a couple times.
A lot of times.
Yeah.
Other than that, the accessory, we mentioned in that review video, there's an accessory thing here that we don't really use. We still don't use it.
Yeah.
You can take off the block and put things in there. We still don't use it. I've actually lost a few things in there.
Forgetting that you left it in there. Yeah.
Yeah, that it's in there. But otherwise, the table is fantastic. Yeah. I really, really love the fact that you can elevate the middle playing field.
The middle playing surface. So the reason why we don't really film on it, and that's a question we get a lot, is because the way the lights that come and kind of shine on the table, they create this kind of bounce reflection.
Yeah.
And it creates this almost if you ever seen the ghost stories around a campfire when you have the flashlight, it kind of creates this spooky uplighting where you see these weird shadows. And we just can't get the colors right with the backdrop and the top down.
It just becomes like a reflector.
Yeah, it just bounces lights a little too much for our liking. So
and that's not what it's made for.
That's not what
it's not made to be a filming table. It's made to be a playing table.
Yeah.
So whenever we have friends over, we will play on this. We'll take everything off, and it's a fantastic time.
Yep.
The one thing is, if you are a heavy gamer or just somebody who plays board games that sprawl, you may want to, and you're looking for a luxury item like this, you may want to upsize because the size of the table that we have.
I think we got the smallest one.
We got the smallest one, and if you're playing a feast for Odin or
TI4
something.
or
It's just
something.
it's not going to fit unless you put the cover on and do exactly this kind of blanket covering
situation.
Yeah. The other question that we get a lot is, for me personally, how full-time content creation is going. And now that I've kind of been doing it for almost half a year, give or take, because for me, after I quit my job, there was a large transition period. It took a lot of getting used to. And then with all of the travel that we had compressed towards the end of the year and a lot of family obligations, there were a lot of things in our personal lives that were kind of taking up a lot of our personal time. And so it wasn't like a full 6 months of just full-time content creation. But so far, it's a big balance. It's hard. It's really hard. There are a lot of things that come in this job that are sort of unique to this position, and that's just making content in general. It's not specifically board games.
Yeah, you don't have coworkers.
I don't have coworkers. I have to kind of carve out my own social life
time,
and just establishing boundaries for myself, like making hours, and it's a lot of admin. It's a lot more admin. It's a lot of people have this idea of full-time content creation as you're just playing board games all day every day, and it's really just like 20% of the job.
20%, something like that. Because there's like setup times, there's learning games, there's back and forth with publishers, there's being in the emails,
and then all of the outreach, comments, and just the social aspects that come with it. And so it's a really it's a very kind of diverse job, but I like it. Yeah, it's still fun. It's still worth it, and that's something that we both kind of do every year. We kind of reevaluate if this is something that's feasible to continue.
Yes.
And I think at this point, we're still on board.
Totally, yeah.
We love it. We love teaching.
Dexter loves it. Dexter is a big fan of your new job.
Dexter's the happiest camper.
He's the happiest. Dexter is our dog, if you're not familiar with the name. He is our little wiener dog, and he is one that wants to be with us at all times. He wants to be up against us. Dexter, if you didn't know, also, he is with us whenever we film. He's underneath this table right now, as he always is.
Let's bother him for a second.
We can bother him.
This is Dexter.
There you go.
He was cozy under the table, napping, so I won't keep you for too long. But just in case you've never met him before, this is him.
Yeah, he is a big fan of Monique's new career choice because he gets to be with her pretty much all day.
Yeah.
And that way he's not lonely.
Yeah, I'm going to put him back.
Yeah.
So then before we get into the businessy stuff, we just kind of want to talk about heavy board games on our channel for a second. So, talking about our year last year, how many videos we put out, all the travel, and sort of where most of our time went to, we both know that in the past couple of months, we haven't had much time to put out heavy board game playthroughs or playthrough and reviews. And I think there are some members of the community who are concerned that maybe this is a different direction that we're going in, that we're kind of just doing Kickstarters or focusing on lighter games. And we kind of just want to dispel that right now. We're definitely not.
Yeah.
The thing about our channel is our content is going to ebb and flow with what's going on in our personal lives. And it's not that we don't want to put out heavy board game playthroughs or we just don't want to focus on them anymore. We definitely still want to. It's just sometimes we go through stretches of time where we don't even play those kinds of games at home because maybe it's too stressful or our time is just so consumed by other things in our personal lives.
Yeah, like with
we don't have that energy.
Like with travel, that basically 2.5 weeks, we say we were gone for 2.5 weeks. By the time you get home, you're not ready to do a heavy board game playthrough.
Yeah.
3-4 days after you get back from a trip, you're still jet lagged. So it's really like that time is actually stretched from that 2.5 weeks to like 3.5, maybe sometimes 4 weeks.
Yeah, it's a whole month. Right?
Also, I work full time, so just being able to go on a trip, to come back, to then have a mountain of work, to then like be able to then manage playing a heavy game several times. So it was kind of like this weird like couple months where it's like it's just not going to be really possible, or that would be the only video kind of we do for weeks at a time because we have to focus on it.
You sacrifice your health, right? To truly answer the question about how full-time content creation is going, the object usually for me is not to stress out Naveen too much.
Thanks.
Yeah. He's not full-time content.
I'm not full-time, so that's what makes it tough because our content, obviously we want to come together, we work together and we work together on these videos. So I'm kind of the limiting factor with a lot of those things because if I'm backed up with work, I have to prioritize that work because that is literally my job.
Yeah.
And then after that, then I can prioritize, kind of coming to the table and doing stuff.
Yes. But we do have some things that are coming up, especially this month, and we'll discuss those towards the end. All right, on to the businessy stuff. So let's talk about Kickstarters and crowdfunding campaigns.
Always,
right?
yes.
So Kickstarter coverage is something that we've always done, even before we were getting sponsored to do them.
Yep.
We were doing them for free, actually, at the start of our channel. And the main reason for this is because our channel is primarily a teaching channel. That's where we like to think our emphasis is on.
Totally.
You know, a lot of people are more reviewers, and there are a lot of people who are really good at reviewing games. For us, we feel like the majority of our joy and our strength is in just learning the game and showing you how to play it,
Teaching
so that
it,
you can make a decision for yourself if the game is right for you. So specifically for crowdfunding projects like Kickstarter previews or GameFound campaigns, we book those projects 2 to 3 months in advance. And we have some general rules that we like to follow for our channel, just to try to align with our viewers and just what kind of everybody wants, the balance, right?
We want to have fun doing the videos. Right?
Yes.
So.
And one of the ways in which we do that is we try to be as strict as possible when it comes to the projects that we take on. So we get requests for crowdfunding videos every day of the week, pretty much, like the business days, Monday through Friday. And we turn down a strong majority of them for various reasons. A majority of the time, it's because the content of the game we don't feel is going to fit our audience.
Yeah,
right?
We got to read the rule book. We look through it. We're like, okay, do we like the theme? Do we feel like it's a game that has mechanisms that we like?
Yeah.
How do we feel about this game? Is it a yes or no for us? So a lot of times it's a no.
So it's a big vetting process. And at the end of the day, all of the campaigns that we take on are games that we are interested in. So for scheduling, we try to only take crowdfunding campaigns once a week. So if you ever see more than one Kickstarter project in a given week, either
back to back or something, yeah.
Yeah, back to back. Either we made an exception because it's a game that we really wanted to play, or there was a campaign change of date, which happens quite frequently.
It does happen a lot, yeah. So there'll be like we agree on a date to release the video, and then all of a sudden we get an email saying, hey, we have to push back.
Yeah, for whatever reason.
We have to push back for whatever reason. They push back 6 weeks, but because we said, like, you know, the calendar gets filled up 2-3 months in advance. And then we're like looking at our calendar and we're like, ooh, that's like on the same day as this other thing, but like we got to kind of figure it out. So that's why those things like kind of happen.
We try to accommodate them as much as possible, but just so you know, whenever we're trying to schedule ahead of time, our goal is to only do one Kickstarter a week max.
Right.
And we also try to avoid releasing more than one video in a day.
Yeah.
As much as possible.
I think we almost never do it. We did do it once this year, but that's because it was
a tutorial.
Castle of Mad King Ludwig. We were teaching the game and then also showcasing the new expansion that was part of it. So it kind of made sense why both were coming out on one day.
Right.
But we really try not to do that.
Yeah. And so that is a majority of our thought process when it comes to us approaching specifically crowdfunding campaigns. Outside of that, because it's monetized content, we don't offer any of our thoughts or any kind of just opinion piece.
Or opinion-based language. We really try to avoid opinion-based language whenever we teach the game or showcase the game. That's like kind of like a point of emphasis for us.
Yeah.
And we sometimes will like retake something like, ooh, was that kind of reviewy? Did I just say something like that? Okay, let's say that again.
Our goal with these crowdfunding campaigns is to just show you what the game is like. Now, in addition to crowdfunding projects, another form of monetized content for our channel are sponsored playthroughs. And those are specifically for games that are already out in retail or are going to be coming out soon. So they're not necessarily tied to an active Kickstarter campaign.
Right.
They could have had one in the past, but in that moment, they're going to be out and available.
Yeah, a lot of times a publisher will approach us or request that, hey, we have a game that's out, it's available. Can you teach it and do a playthrough of it so that people can see if it's a game that they like, or they can also learn the rules and kind of get the strategies? And just, like I said, see if it's something that kind of meets their gaming interest.
Yeah, right. And so for this form of content, this is actually the most ideal for us because it checks a lot of boxes. It lets us do what we love doing most, which is teaching the game, demonstrating it, and it also helps keep the channel running.
Right.
So for those projects specifically, we also heavily vet those. We only try to take on games that either we think that we would really like or that we think that the rest of our audience would really love to see.
Yep.
And similar to crowdfunding campaigns, for those types of videos, we don't include any opinion piece. So oftentimes we do get questions on those videos like, how come there's no review at the end? And the reason why is because we accepted a form of monetization.
Exactly.
And we don't add reviews for those.
Right.
And finally, we also have a Patreon. And so our approach to our Patreon is we actually don't have any tiers. right? We don't have any levels
It's
of
not
payment.
like official, like, so if you actually go onto the Patreon, if you go to our link, there will show tiers, but if you read the description, they're actually exactly the same.
In terms of the benefits.
Yeah, because when we first started the Patreon, we actually did have a tier system where it's like 3, 5, 10, or whatever.
Yeah.
And they all had different kind of benefits or things. And we kind of over time felt that we didn't really like that too much.
Yeah, we dropped the tiers,
Yeah.
I think at the beginning of last year for a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
One reason is because we didn't feel very comfortable with super paywalling. Like, if you can't afford to pay this high, you're not going to get this, you know what I mean? Like, Patreon is already paywalling content to an extent.
Right.
And we didn't want so many barriers for people who maybe couldn't contribute as much.
Right.
And this was all with the support of the Patreon community, by the way. They're a lovely, lovely group of people. The other reason is because having a tier system was making it extremely stressful for us to make sure that everybody gets something every month.
That was unique to the tier that they were in. So
tier.
it became like, we're doing regular stuff on the channel, and then it's like, okay, what's the content for the $10 tier?
Yeah.
What's going to be the $3 tier content? And it just felt very strange. And we just knew when we started the Patreon, we never wanted anything to feel like too stressful. So doing it this way for us is way more comfortable. And I think the Patreon community was very open to that idea of us not having a tier system, and just whatever you're willing to contribute, it's always welcome and very nice, and we're very thankful for it.
And this was not an idea that we came up with. We actually got this from No Pun Included. So they're a fantastic review channel on YouTube, and they did the same thing before we did. And so when I saw that for those reasons, and so when I saw that they dropped their tiers, I thought that is a fantastic idea. It solves a lot of issues for us.
Yeah.
And so over the past year, we've kind of put out a random assortment of things on the Patreon. I recently did a solo playthrough, a top-down only solo playthrough video for a solo game called Onirum. We did a handful of podcasts. We did some behind-the-scenes, like video filmings when we were traveling.
We also try to do a couple first impressions every so often whenever we play a game, especially when we're demoing it for the first time. We just kind of like in just our street clothes, or I mean, we're always
street clothes,
pajamas. If we're in pajamas, then we're just going to turn on the camera and like, hey, this is XYZ game, and this is what we think about it, and we're excited to play it again, or it was not good, and I don't think we're ever going to play it ever again. So
we also contribute monthly vlogs, and where we share pretty much everything we've been playing.
Yep.
And this month we are planning a live stream. But as always, this is not a requirement for anything. We try our best to not paywall too much stuff. But if you are interested, the link is always in all of our video descriptions. So anyway, that is our approach to monetize content on our channel. This is something that we like to discuss once a year, just for anyone who is curious, or just for full disclosure for a community. Now, coming up on our channel, so let's talk about some games that we're going to be doing playthroughs
Definitely
of, I guess.
Be doing,
And then we'll end with our list and maybe some resolutions that I hope we can keep.
I know, we
really
fail.
Hope so.
We're pretty bad at those.
All right, so the next video that is coming up on our channel is a video that was voted on by our Patreon community. We're a little bit overdue on that because of the holidays, so we figured we'll just tell you now. We're not going to keep it as a secret. And it is Endless Winter.
Yes.
So this was a hot one that our Patreon community really wanted to see. So this is hopefully going to be launching on Sunday or Monday.
Yeah, so when we put up a poll, this is the one that won over on Patreon. There were 4 different options. This one, I think, won quite handedly, if I remember. And we had never played it before it had won on the poll. So we had to play it a couple times. We are now comfortable with it, and so that should be going up soon. This game is one that was compared a lot to us, to Dune Imperium, as well as Lost Ruins of Arnak, which are 2 games that we both really enjoy. Both are in our collection. And so we were actually kind of glad that this won on that poll, because
we wanted to see what was...
It gave us that extra push to be like, okay, let's get this to the table over some other games that we have an opportunity to play.
And the reason why it's compared to those other 2 games is because they all share this common mechanism of worker placement with deck building. They do it in very different ways.
They do. All 3 are different.
Yeah, very, very different. And so I am very interested in sharing kind of where that lines up for us. If you've played all 3 of them before, we would love to hear what your ranking is. This is for Dune Imperium, with or without the expansions. It's up to you. Lost Ruins of Arnak and Endless Winter. That's coming up next. After that, we have our first 4-player collab video.
Yes.
With a couple of members of the Board Game Barrage podcast. So that is definitely launching next week. And then right after that, we are probably going to be posting a playthrough video for a game that rhymes with Meals of Marl.
And
a very hard game, by the way.
Flowerberg person out there. Yeah. That's going to be the next
Farming.
one. Yeah. A farming game, perhaps.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which our goal is hopefully by the end of the week. We will see. And so that is just the immediate next few videos that's on our list. We have a few other things planned for the rest of the month, but we won't spoil them for now.
Sure. All right. So we are now going to talk about our 10 games that we still want to play that have come out since 2019. All the way up until last year. So that's probably what is in the title of this video. I'm not sure yet. But that's why you probably clicked on this video.
Maybe you jumped to this
Maybe
list.
you jumped to this point.
But here we are.
Yeah.
So this time it is going to be a total list of 10. We're not going to be doing 10 each.
Right, right.
And we do have a couple of runner-ups that were released in 2022.
Yep.
And so just a couple of things. We're not going to be able to provide any pictures of the games because we don't own a majority of them. And we're not going to name any publishers or designers this time because it's been quite a long video. So we just want to go through.
We're going to move it on through, yeah.
So do you want to go first or me?
Go for it. Yeah.
All right. So my runner-up is probably one of the hottest games of 2022 that we did not get to play. And it was on so many different lists. It is a game that has a theme that I love, and it is called Wonderland's War. So this is a game that I don't even quite know what it's about. It sounds like it's part war game. It kind of has it dips its feet into a lot of different mechanisms.
I heard it's long. I heard it's long to set up, so it kind of scares me a little bit.
It does,
but
right?
it comes highly recommended by a lot of different people. So the theme sounds really cool.
Yes.
The idea of playing as different characters in the Alice in Wonderland kind of universe sounds really cool. I'm just a little nervous about the playtime of it.
Yeah.
But
so maybe
it's
I'll play it
still
without
something.
Naveen.
It's still something I want to play. And if you know like of an ideal player count for that, please let us know in the comments down below because anytime you hear something is really long, you want to make sure you have the most ideal player count.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Like recently somebody asked me if they should play Caverna at 7.
Right,
So
right,
that's a prime example.
Yeah.
So, for me, that is a theme that I really love. I love anything Alice in Wonderland. So I'm very curious to play it. I know this is one of Tim Chuan's favorite games. It might be.
I think it was his. I think it's what he chose. Yeah.
Of 2022. So Tim, if you want to play it, I
teach
would
it.
love to.
Yeah, we do not know how to play it. Please teach us. My runner-up is also another game that came out last year. This is on the list because of the designer specifically. This is a Steffenfeld brand new design. He came out with a couple different games that were kind of reskinned or rethemed, but this particular one is a brand new one. It's called Marrakesh from Queen Games. We got a quick kind of auditorium loud noise rundown. Of how the game is played with a bunch of masks on. So it was at Gen Con, and it was really hard to know what was going on. But looking down at the table, there was a kind of like a resource cube tower. There looked like just a bunch of different pathways of what you could do. The rundown was like this 30-minute, just like, whoa, like I have no idea what you just said right now, but that sounds really cool.
Yeah, it sounds.
I'm surprised that we haven't played it yet because
sounds like it's right down your alley.
It's right down my alley, and I'm surprised we haven't played it yet because it was, I think, one of my highly anticipated games coming out last year when we did that list, but you just can't get around to all the games, and so my runner-up is Marrakesh.
All right, moving on to number 10. So we're going to go, this is 2021 now. This is a game
we're going
that
back in time.
We believe came out in 2021, and it is a game called Meadow. So this is a cute theme. We don't know too much about this game, actually. We saw the expansion when we went to Gen Con.
Yes. That's all we thought was just the expansion. I think the person
somebody, a very, very nice person, came up to us and tried to explain how Meadow is played. And it sounded very interesting. It sounds like there's an abstract part of it.
You're moving down a river, I think.
Yes.
I can't remember exactly the
tough
details.
decisions and cute theme.
Yeah.
And that's something that I'm very curious to play.
It's always hard to talk about these games when you've never played them. Hence why it's like on the list. It's like, it's played like
okay,
I
we're doing
don't
our
know.
best.
We're doing our best. We're fumbling. Yeah. Okay. The number 9 on this list is also from 2021. This is from the same designers that did Lorenzo Il Magnifico as well as Grand Austria Hotel, which is a game that I enjoy. Monique, not so much. Secrets out.
Secrets out.
Monique is not a big fan of that one. But this game is called Gollum. This is a Euro-style game. I don't know too much about it, but from what I understand, there's an engine-building aspect of it, and The resources, I think it's kind of like how Masters of Renaissance, there's like kind of these marbles that you have to try to manipulate. I'm not exactly sure how it's played, but it's one that was also on my highly anticipated list that I just did not get around to in the year 2021.
Right.
It took a while for it to get to the US, and by that time,
is it here now?
It is. I think it's here now. Yeah, I didn't know anybody that also had the game, so it's one of those games that kind of passed by, but it's still on my mind as a game that I want to play.
Number 8. So this is another one similar to what you said about Marrakesh. This is one that we are interested in because of the designer. I believe this is an Alexander Pfister title that came out in 2021.
Right.
And it's called Boon Lake. So again, we don't really know much about the game. But it's an Alexander Pfister title. We did an entire Pfister series. And ideally, we would have wanted to continue with any games that they come out with and kind of add that to the rankings, but this one slipped through the cracks.
It did, yeah. I was told from a couple people that it is a true hodgepodge of a lot of Pfister's other titles. Like, you're going to feel pieces of this game, and this game. Which combinations and which is the most prevalent or the strongest, I'm not exactly sure. But it's definitely one that we still want to play just to kind of figure that out since we are so familiar with Alexander Pfister titles. Number 7 is another game that came out back in 2021. This is a 2-player dueling game. I don't know too much about it, but it is called Radlands. This won the 2021 Golden Geek Awards for the best 2-player game, so has to be good. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know anything about it, but
yeah, we've never played it, but it is a 2-player dueling card game with beautiful artwork. I think there's like the resource is like water. I don't know. I'm just very interested in 2-player card games.
2-player dueling ones, yeah.
That's something that I'm always interested in seeing, kind of what the mechanisms are and what makes this game tick, right?
Yeah, and I think in like past comments on other things, it's been highly recommended to us as well. So that's why it's always kind of stayed front of mind. We just haven't had a chance to play it, but
we don't own it either.
We don't own it either. So most of these games we don't own. I think we mentioned that earlier.
Yeah.
But I know Rodney over at Watch It Play did make an instructional video, so that'll kind of get us into it a lot faster.
Yeah. All right, number 6. So this is one of 2 titles from 2020 that are on this list, and it is a Reiner Knizia game called My City.
Right.
So this is a game that's been highly recommended to us, and we actually do own this one. We just haven't gotten around to it. Oh, there it is.
It happens to be right here.
What a surprise.
Maybe we're going to play it soon.
So this is a game, I believe, that has polyomino tiles, and it's sort of like, it's definitely a campaign, but I think it's also sort of legacy, but not in the sense that you rip things apart and things are forever.
I think like the things that happened in the
trashed.
previous still carry over to the next gameplay, but I'm not exactly sure the details of that.
Right.
Because it's supposed to uncover as you play it.
Yes, this has been highly recommended to us. People seem to really enjoy it at 2 specifically. It's not a 2-player only game. It's 2 to 4.
I heard it's good at 2 though.
Yeah, and every game is only about 30 minutes. So this is a game that we are most likely going to play first because we're actually planning on a live stream of this specifically for the Patreon community if they all agree on this game.
Right.
But this is the one that is front of mind and one of the 2 that is from 2020 that we still want to play.
Number 5 on our list came out back in 2020 as well, and one that passed us by but never forgotten. It's called Honey Buzz. Honey Buzz was one that a lot of people were talking about at the time in 2020, and it was on their list of like some of their favorite games. And the look of the game is something that has always drawn me in. I like animal-themed games, and there's
It's a bee worker placement.
Worker placement game with some drafting. I don't know the exact mechanisms of what makes it unique or what does set it apart, but I like that combination of things in games. I like worker placement and I like drafting, so it's something that's still on my radar.
Yeah, and I think it has super nice components from what we understand. All right, number 4. So these last 4 games are all going to be from 2019. So they're the oldest ones on the list. And so this game is a game that's designed by a couple of designers who worked on games like Come Together, Revive, just to name a few. And it is called The Magnificent. And so now that I'm thinking about it, I think maybe one of us might have played it once.
I have not played it.
Right when
I think it might have been you.
Came out. But after that, we just haven't been able to cover it.
Right.
And so this is a game about, I believe it's about performers. It's an action selection game using dice. And one that we've been wanting to cover for a while.
Yeah.
We just haven't been able to pull the trigger.
When we were researching games from 2019 about this list, and then we saw The Magnificent, instantly that box art is like, oh man, I really want to try this game finally. Also, we've seen that On BGG, it is recommended the most at 2 players. So obviously that's something that we want to try to get played as soon as possible.
Yeah, so maybe we'll just pull the trigger on that one this year.
That'd be nice. Number 3 has come really highly recommended specifically to me by a lot of people in the comments of other videos. It is from the same designers that did Trois. And it is called Black Angel. So I don't know anything about the mechanisms of the game. This is definitely something that has been something I've wanted to play for a very, very long time. I've actually bid on it in a couple math trades and have not been able to get it and to lock it in. So maybe this is the year.
It was really hot when it came out in 2019.
Yeah.
I think that was like one of the hot games at Gen Con.
Yes,
it has
and
this
like
really neon-y looking cover.
Yeah,
right?
so I think the premise is like you're in control of this ship called the Black Angel that's kind of going through space and things happen. I'm not exactly sure the exact details of it, but if it's anything that's from the same designers that like Trois, Ginkgopolis, games like that, then I know it's probably something that's going to be up my alley. And it's just something that I really want to get played. So I've heard all your recommendations for this, and I still want to play it. Yes.
Ginkgopolis, by the way, is a fantastic game.
Yes.
Play that if you haven't. All right, number 2 on our list is cheating a little bit because I think it's the second edition of the game that came out in 2019.
Yeah.
And it came highly recommended. It is called PAX Pamir, second edition.
Yep.
And it's designed by Cole Worley. Outside of that, I know that it is a tableau builder. It seems really thinky. But I also just know that I like Cole Worley games. And I really love to try John Company, which is one that came out in 2022.
That one's also highly recommended, yeah.
Yes.
This one we've also seen in some comments like, please play PAX Premier second edition. It's always second edition is what we've been told. So I don't know really what the difference is between the two.
Yeah,
maybe
what was that
components
first edition like to really do people wrong?
Yeah, everybody's like, please play it. You guys will love it. This is right up your alley. So because of that, because of the designer and the highly recommended, the content recommendations that we're getting for it, it's definitely something that's been on our list.
Yeah.
We don't own it, so we'd love to play it sometime. And finally, the number 1 game that came out back 3 years ago, one that I have actually not played, the game that it's based on.
Oh my gosh.
And
travesty.
It's a travesty. Yeah, I know. Clank Legacy. Clank Legacy is a game that I've never heard anybody say anything bad about it.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's people that probably don't like it, but everybody that I've come across in person and online that I've actually had interactions with highly, highly recommend this particular game. I've never played Clank before. I heard it's a deck builder.
Yeah.
I was always turned off by deck builders. I would say back 2018, 19, and 20. I've now come around to deck builders way more. Because now I understand the idea of trashing your trash cards. I get it. Yes, I understand.
That's a good skill.
That's a great skill in deck building. So I can't really speak too much beyond that.
I've played Clank. I have not played Clank Legacy, but Clank itself is a fantastic game. I think it's very well designed. It can attract a lot of different gamers. Mm-hmm. It's a very medium to lightweight game where you're basically just going down into a dungeon, trying to get a bunch of stuff, and using your deck building techniques to get out. Right. I think you're trying to get something specific. I've only played Clank, I think maybe twice, and it was a few years ago. Yeah. It's been a while. But I've always heard fantastic things about specifically the Legacy version of Clank. Mm-hmm. Some people even say that it's the best Legacy game they've ever played.
That's what I've heard, yeah.
And I really love Legacy games. I'm always looking for ones that are done really well. So that is why that one's at the top of our list. Mm-hmm. All right, there you have it. Those are all the games that we are, well, not all, but those are 10 games that we still would really like to play. Yeah. We're going to try our best to try to get them played this year, and we'll keep you updated with maybe a future vlog that we're also going to try our best to
maybe that'll be like a challenge for us. Oh. Maybe I'm ordaining that to be our challenge to play these games.
Is that your New Year's resolution?
It's not a resolution, it's a challenge. You know, like people have the 10 by 10?
Yeah, that's true.
This will be our 1 by 10. Yeah, that just play it once.
12. We have to include those runner-ups, right?
Runner-ups, that's true. Okay.
So, in terms of resolutions, because I really wanted to kind of end the video with them, we did not meet our resolutions last year, which was to play every campaign game in our collection. You heard about our entire year. That was impossible. That was never going to happen. Yeah. So, I think this year we agreed. Go ahead.
We have agreed that we are finally going to finish the second half of season 2 of Pandemic Legacy.
Right.
Because we are somewhere stuck in like July or August from the last time if you've been watching our channel for a long time, the last time we mentioned where we're stuck, we're still there. Nothing has changed. We are still in July or August.
Yeah.
I do not
yes.
remember the story at all. I have no idea what kind of situation we're in. So we're gonna have to we're gonna have to figure it all out and kind of just push hard.
Yes.
Have it
push
set
hard.
up on a table.
Push play.
And never break it down. I think if we put it back in the box,
put it underneath this.
we
Just leave it
you know
set
what
up
we
here.
can. We actually
Yeah.
can put it. There's not like big huge. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Well, that's Naveen's resolution.
That's
my
my
resolution
resolution, yeah.
actually is to get through both season 2 and season 0. Just finish out the pandemics. Just be done with them.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
We'll see about that.
We'll keep
Yeah.
you updated.
Yeah.
But please let us know if you have any New Year's resolutions, or even if you have games from the past few years that you'd love to get played, because we haven't done it too much in the past year, but we really love playing older games.
Yeah, totally.
Like, we're not necessarily cult of the new type people.
Just
but
the nature
you're
of
kind
having a channel.
forced to be, right? If you're in content creation, you're forced to kind of keep updated with what's coming out, but we're all about the older stuff.
Totally. Yeah.
So we'll see what we can get done.
Also, if you have any recommendations for games that we might have missed within this range of time, feel free to also leave those in the comments. I know
Yeah.
we're asking you to do a bunch of stuff in the comments. Whatever floats your boat. Yeah.
Do whatever you
Whatever
want.
you like. But if
But-
you do have a recommendation, because this is how we become aware and it kind of brings it to the top of mind, like, oh, a lot of people are recommending
Yeah,
packs from here.
that's true.
Okay, maybe that's something we should look into because
Yes.
there's so many games out there.
Right. And otherwise, thank you all so much for your continued support throughout the years. It really, really means so much to us
Does, yeah.
both. And we hope you had a wonderful holiday season and a wonderful start to your new year. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.